So, Coach, I mean, let's just start with Baylor. What do you see out of the Bears? Your first ever meeting with them?
Yeah, they're very, very talented offensively. Just got so many guys that can deck it and shoot it, and they put a lot of pressure on the rim. Really from everywhere. So they create some challenges from that standpoint. They're getting their guys back. They did lose their 7-foot center here this week. They got a couple guys back, and then lost one. That's kind of been a little bit of some of their. I don't know about what you want. Inconsistency. I think they've been short bodies for a good portion of the year, but they're getting some of those key guys back.
So, keys for you guys, if you're going to come away with the win, what do you got to do?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just if you let them get into the paint, now they're at the rim and they're kicking out for threes. It's now it's easier said than done because they're so gifted as kind of individual players of going by you and getting by you. So that's our challenge. Is just we're going to have to be really connected as a team defense.
John?
That was looking up here. Couple oddities. They ran a little 1-3-1 against Houston. I mean, is that something specific to what Houston did, or is that something they're throwing in there? And they shot 58% and lost the game by 11. I mean, it's pretty. That's an odd thing to see right there.
Yeah, they do it. It's kind of a tandem zone. It looks like a 1-3-1. They have all four guys above the free throw line, and then as the possession goes, it kind of drifts back into a 2-3, but they always try to get their two guards kind of tandem up top with two wings really high, and they've done that for a lot of years with him. We actually played him in the NCAA tournament. It was a while ago, but he was doing it back then. So, but they'll change up their defenses. They'll switch 5 ways. Sometimes they'll switch 4 ways, and then they'll throw in that zone, for a good portion of the game as well. But yeah, as you said, they played well. Just shot it well. Houston did too.
One other thing here, with the way they're playing defense and all the different things that you've seen, I think with Javon's had 9 shot attempts in his last 2 games. Obviously, that's got to be a big focus for you guys to figure out ways to get him freed up for shots, right?
Yeah, I mean that's something we're trying to do every game. That's now there's at times there's only so much you can do if you want to commit 2 people to him all the time. Now you got to take what they give you, and I think Javon's done that. He's had 9 assists and 8 assists in the last 2 games, and honestly, in the BYU game, that was as good as our offense has been. We'd scored almost 70 points, shot 55% in the second half. So I thought Javon did a great job of, hey, if you're going to face Garmy and do these type of things, it created a lot of opportunities for our other guys. So that's something that, if defenses want to do it, we got to take what they give us. And he's done a good job of that.
Mike?
Hey, Coach. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah. Now, recently, obviously, you've been a little inconsistent, haven't won back-to-back games in a while, and now is more on the bubble, but still with plenty of games to go. If you could characterize for fans, as John was talking about, recently other guys have stepped up, but Small's not been able to take over. Before, you talked about how you couldn't rely just on Small because he was scoring a lot, and then you needed other guys to step up, but it hadn't happened, hasn't been happening enough together in back-to-back games. Is there anything you can characterize on what's led to this decline? I mean, easy casual fan can point to Tucker being out, but you won big games without him. What do you think has led to this change the last 3 weeks?
Yeah, I'll be honest. Like, I think it's still like our offense is, when we lost Tucker, we lost some of our firepower on the offensive end, and that's, no secret. I felt like a lot of those games, it was more of our defense that carried us, and that's what propelled us to some of those big wins. And in the games we've lost, it's been our defense that has let us down, and that's how we are going to win. Is when our defense is really solid and disciplined. And I thought the other night against against BYU, that's why we lost the game. And we allowed them to shoot 55% in the second half. Well, you're not winning those games. And we actually played good offense. We shot 55% in the second half. But defensively, we just made too many mistakes, and we just don't have that big a margin for error to allow that to happen.
Kevin?
There's a little bit of question about your pace. Obviously, I know you want to get early opportunity shots if you can, whether it's at the rim or even from three after moving the ball a little bit. But then do you want to be more deliberate with, some mindfulness about your shorter bench and things like that? And can it be difficult to say, hey, let's press it early, but then if it's not there, make sure we're patient to get the best shot available?
Yeah, you're right. I mean, it's kind of which one you want to do, because we have to try to score in a broken floor. That gives us the best opportunity to get an advantage. But at the same time, we don't need a track meet with our rotations and things. From just preserving guys that have to play a lot of minutes. So it's trying to find that balance of when to push and when to pull back and be a little more deliberate and making sure we get a really quality shot on a possession. But we still want to take advantage of those open floor opportunities as much as we can. And then once we get into the half court, now be really intentional about what we're trying to get.
That doesn't seem like there's something, that you can do in a drill, that it's more just something you got to try to reinforce, discuss, and when it happens in practice, say, hey, this is where we want to take a beat and reset.
Yeah, I think that's something, as game by game, a little bit of like, hey, let's really try to, put an emphasis on kicking it ahead and pushing versus, hey, check it out, see if it's there. And then if it's not, hey, let's pull it out and get into, whatever set we're trying to get and try to utilize, our guys the best way possible.
Cody?
Hey, Darren. So you mentioned keeping Baylor out of the paint, and that was what happened against BYU that you were upset about. So do you make adjustments going into tomorrow, or do you just kind of reestablish with the guys about how aggressive they should be and keeping guys in front of them?
Yeah, I think it's more that just being more disciplined with our effort, and like I told the team, we played plenty hard enough. It just we didn't play with enough discipline on some things. We got a little too aggressive at times, and then they were able to get by us, and now they're playing downhill and playing a numbers game. So you still want our guys to be aggressive and into the ball, and but making sure they also can do a good job of keeping it in front. Anytime you start to get the ball and it gets behind you, now you're in trouble. So maintain that same mentality, but also do a better job of making sure you just got to keep it in front of us as much as possible.
Justin?
Hey, Coach. Good morning. How are you?
Good.
Hey, the talk of the defense kind of interests me in the sense that when you look at the overall stats, your defensive numbers are pretty good. I certainly get what you're talking about with the shooting percentages from BYU in the second half. I'm kind of curious, is there like an X number in your mind as you're game planning and kind of going game by game? Is there an X number in your mind? Hey, if we get to this many points, we should win the game. Is there anything like that in your game planning?
No, not really. I mean, every game's going to kind of dictate itself, but it's, I'd love to say, hey, let's get this 75 points every game, but we don't control that as much as we would like, because there's, shooting percentages, whatever. It's for us, it's controlling, like we talked about, the controllables, and that's our defense. And then, on the offensive end, the things we can control is, taking care of the ball and making sure we get good movement and being unselfish, those type of things. But ultimately, we can't make the ball go in the basket. We can get some open opportunities and things, and sometimes, we hit them, sometimes we don't. But I know what we can control on the other end of the floor right now. And like we said before, we don't have, a lot of elite level shooters, so it's, we're trying to manufacture as many points as we can. But on the other end of the floor, we have to be as solid and disciplined every single, possession to try to limit their opportunities.
And obviously, with Baylor, I kind of like with the BYU game where they had the Demon kid, who obviously talented freshman. Baylor's got the Edgecombe, I believe is how you pronounce it. Pretty highly ranked freshman on the NBA boards and stuff like that. Do you see? I mean, obviously, they're still freshmen. There's ups and downs, and do you see anything with VJ's game that maybe he's becoming more consistent than maybe at the beginning of the year?
Yeah, he's playing terrific. I
Yeah.
think in Big 12 play, he's shooting almost 46% from three. And when you watch the film, like his speed just stands out too, especially in the open floor. It's impressive. I mean, and then when you have a guy like that can put it on the ground and get to the rim, can also shoot threes at that high of a clip. That's a tough matchup, and there's a reason he's so highly thought of on the NBA draft boards, and it certainly shows up on tape.
Thank you, Coach.
John?
Omier, almost 16 a game and 10 boards. I guess going to be a key keeping him off the glass.
Yeah, and he's relentless. We had actually played him 2 years ago in the NCAA tournament when he was with Miami, and so we got to see him, up close and personal. So I know exactly what he's capable of. But yeah, he's one of those guys that just has a great knack for going and getting the ball. He's a physical guy. So he's someone that you got to put a body on and keep him as far away from that basket as possible.
Mike?
Yeah, Coach, we talking a lot about how other guys have stepped up recently and trying to get small back going. Is there a dichotomy that you kind of have to wrestle with of trying to get small back going, but make sure that they also still stay clicking when we're talking about Joseph and Hansberry, et cetera, because that's really the recipe to win. And you mentioned that kind of being an issue earlier in the season when you were still winning. And then just also as an addition here, some of the players, not you, but some of the players talked about that your scouting report's fine, slow starts to games, which kind of picked up recently, was on them. How would you characterize the effort of the team and how that's turned around, or even how they feel about themselves, since I think it was Joseph who said that about a week ago?
Yeah, in regards to Javon, I think we're going to continue to try to find, he's our best offensive player. Everybody knows that. Other teams know that. So they're going to try and limit him. We're going to try and find ways to, get him free. But in doing that, you're also, he draws a lot of gravity towards him. So if you're drawing two defenders to try to take you away, it's freeing other people up. And I think that's what you're seeing is we're getting pretty good possessions, good looks. And that's why you've seen some of those other guys, because they're not being guarded maybe as closely because of all the attention to Javon. So we're getting cleaner looks from those other guys. And I think that's why you're seeing their, success kind of has gone up here recently. And hopefully that balance kind of evens itself out as we continue to move along, and we'll get, find ways to get Javon free, and he'll score. I mean, he's going to score. They've just done a good job these last couple of games. Like I said, that balance has been good for us. Our offense has certainly been good enough in Utah and in the BYU game. It's just that defensive, breakdowns that has hurt us. But, as far as the team goes, like everybody's in great spirits. They're very focused on continuing to compete at a high level and giving us great energy and effort. And that's this time of year, that's all you can ask for, is let's continue to make sure we're well prepared and go out there and compete and do the best job we can for every 40 minutes we got left. And hopefully that means there's some wins on that side of it.
Greg?
Coach, do you, at this stage of the season, talk about postseason prospects with the team and, things like where they rank in the net and all that? Or is it more of still a game by game approach, and doing enough right will take care of that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's still a game by game. I mean, I think our message to them is, hey, it's February and we're playing for something. And, there's a lot of teams that aren't there right now. They just got their conference tournament left to try to get there. But that's not the case with us. But we have to do our part. We have to go win games. And they understand that. And we understand that as a staff. None of it really matters right now. The thing that does matter is you got to find ways to continue to get wins. And And that's our primary focus. And that's the game by game mentality of, hey, our next opportunity is at Baylor. And what do we got to do to go try to win that game?
And we'll close with Keenan.
Hey, Coach, I know you mentioned some of the guys that have stepped up. What is Kobe O'Connie and what he's been able to do on both ends of the floor meant to you guys, over the last couple of games? Because obviously he's really kind of stepped it up.
Yeah, I think he's given us some great versatility. He's made some open threes. He's been able to get in the paint, shoot a little jump hook every once in a while, give us a big offensive rebound, give us some drives at the rim. So he's done a nice job of kind of utilizing all the things he's capable of, and that's been a nice little burst for us on the offensive side of it, because those are the things that he's capable of doing, every night.
I think that's it. Thanks, Coach, and thanks everyone for calling in.